Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. This is Kevin Smith. I'm President and CEO of OneSource Document Solutions. A really good turnout for the webinar today, so I think that shows there must be a good bit of interest in email management and archiving. We have partnered with CMA as we believe email management is a pressing issue for organizations like all of you that are interested in electronic records management. Since Email Manager integrates with both Outlook and Exchange, and it's tightly integrated with Laserfiche, it seemed like a natural fit to me. The issue with email is that 90% of business communications are conducted through email, and most of it gets trapped there. Some of you might be printing and scanning emails, or using Laserfiche Snapshot, or sending to Laserfiche with the Laserfiche tool. From our experience, others are manually indexing or doing nothing at all. Hopefully, you'll find today's presentation educational and informative in terms of the possibilities to do more. With that intro, I'd like to introduce Phil Dixon. He is CEO of CMA. Phil's been in the enterprise content management space for about 10 years, is an AIM certified ECM specialist and business process management practitioner. Phil, it's all you.
All right. Well, thank you, Kevin. Much appreciated, and we're equally excited about working with the OneSource team. And thanks again for everyone for joining the call. We're going to talk about automation, compliance, and productivity as it pertains to email management and archiving. And so we'll do a brief PowerPoint presentation here to start off with. We will jump into a demo, and we'll obviously leave some time for Q&A, and then we have a very brief poll at the end of the session here, as we would certainly like your feedback in terms of how we did and the content that we're presenting here. As you think about questions, feel free to type those into the questions module, and we can get those answered as soon as we're done with the demonstration. So to frame this up just a little bit for you before we get into the demo, obviously Email Manager, descriptively named, helps organizations manage email, and so to do that, we need to be tied into Outlook, Exchange, and other mail servers. And the goal is to help organizations be more productive, get organized, work smarter, and stay efficient as it pertains to email, attachments, and all the communications that are going through this particular vehicle. And so from ECM or a document management standpoint, really think about email management in three buckets as we talk to customers and we look at different use cases. Those three buckets are correspondence, business process, and compliance. Organizations that want to get a better handle on correspondence are looking to capture and archive communications, email communications related to employees, customers, and vendors. So the email communications that are associated with documents, or just generally they are a document themselves, or they're carrying an attachment that needs to be a document, and we want to capture all of that information seamlessly and making sure that the communications are stored alongside the documents for search as well as records management. The second bucket here is business process, and that is where email sometimes is the front end for a communication and how it gets captured into another system for routing or workflow. But the business process side of things really allows us to create rules, archive rules, and automate the capture of email correspondence. For example, invoices come into invoices@abccompany.com. We can capture all of that information and put it into Laserfiche. Laserfiche can kick off a workflow to add metadata or even put it down an approval path. And then this third bucket here is compliance. And of course, for some companies that are regulated, be it federal and state or industry regulations, email is a necessity to manage and capture those records that are related to customers or contracts or vendors so that you can have an electronic records management strategy for email the same way you would with paper or with your electronic documents that you're scanning in or importing. So those are kind of the three ways that we look at email management. How does that fit into enterprise content management and document management? This is a graphic for an AIM study that was conducted, and as Kevin said, 90% of B2B correspondence or communications is being conducted through email. So the volume is vast and immense in terms of the amount of information that's traveling through email. And again, like Kevin said, it tends to get trapped there. Organizations also list email as their most important or most critical application. CRM, accounting, project management, other systems are coming in even behind email. And then, of course, when polled, organizations are responding that their people, their employees, are spending 25% of their time filing, organizing, and searching information related to email. So again, we think it's a pressing issue and a problem, and to just give you some idea for how we've approached an email management solution, obviously it needs to be tied into your document management, your workflow, and your records management system, but it needs to live where email lives, where you live, and where you do your daily activity, and that's inside of Outlook. And all the Outlook information is traveling through the Exchange server. So Email Manager integrates with both Outlook and Exchange. As you can see here on the screen, from a classification standpoint, think back to the correspondence bucket here. We're able to classify an email the same way we would a scanned document. But we can do that as part of authoring a message or reading an email message inside of Outlook. Feature functionality that needs to be in place in order to eliminate a lot of manual data entry is, of course, the ability to track the conversation. Or you can also think about it this way: the ability to tag it once or set it and forget it. So this feature that we'll show here is tracking conversations. It tracks the email thread. It allows you to tag it once or to have a rule automatically tag an email. And then anything related to that email on the conversation will automatically be associated or be indexed into Laserfish automatically for you. And so we treat the unique identifiers and records that a message and a thread has a lot like a barcode or an RFID tag, and are able to track conversations. And we've got some other features that we're going to show in the demo, of course, but a couple of things that are a little difficult to demonstrate in the demonstration are synchronization and deduplication. So one thing to remember here as you're looking at how the software behaves with Laserfish, remember that any person that's in Outlook that's copied or CC'd or BCC'd on the conversation, any one person that applies metadata, or if the metadata is automatically applied via the Exchange integration or an archive rule, then that is going to get synchronized to all Outlook users that are on that conversation so they know it's happened, how it's been classified, and it will help them to be able to search inside of Outlook and Laserfish documents. The other primary feature that's difficult to demonstrate is deduplication, but that's something that from an email management standpoint, what we don't want to do is get 5 copies of the same email in Laserfish. We don't want 10 copies. So the deduplication feature makes sure, kind of dovetailing the tracking and the unique identification of a message and a conversation, doesn't matter how many people are CC'd, as long as we capture the one copy, we're going to make sure we're not uploading multiple copies of the exact same message, even though we have multiple copies for the users inside of Outlook, of course. So with that, we're going to go ahead and get into the demonstration here. I will start with the most manual process. Again, this is the correspondence scenario. We want to classify and track a new conversation. Then we'll go into the rules-based capture. I'll show searching Laserfish from Outlook. And then we'll get into the Exchange integration, where it's really a back-end integration. The administrator is going to set that up, point it at the Exchange server, and it's going to listen for new emails that meet rules or just an entire mailbox, capture all that information into Laserfish automatically for you. So here, as we're starting a new conversation, what happens over on the right-hand side, Email Manager is embedded into the Outlook task pane, and all of your Laserfish templates and repositories show up in this task pane. So here, I'll just start a new email thread. This will be a customer service example. We'll tie it to Acme. The client ID automatically pulls in based on a parent-child relationship we have set up. And in Laserfish, the drop-down list is exposed here inside of Outlook. All that's just pulled through natively. Drop-downs, dynamic fields, required fields, tokens, you name it. If it's set up as a field definition in Laserfish, it's automatically pulled through here to Outlook. So what I'll do is I'll go ahead and I'll send this email to myself so that you can see real quickly how it's tracking and applying the metadata. So just go ahead and send this, and then a whole lot of information on it. What you'll see here in the Outlook preview pane is that when we tag an email message, it's got a green category on it. And so this email has just come back to me. It's got the green category. I can see that Email Manager has sent it to Laserfish. I see it in the preview pane and in the message view. And then if I open this up, what you'll see is that it's got the same metadata on it that I sent it out with. And so this is, again, the tracking functionality. If I hit reply, it's going to have the same metadata. So I'm not having to re-index emails and conversations. All this will automatically be done for me. And as we're sending and receiving, it's just being captured into Laserfish silently on the back end. The end user doesn't have to do a whole lot here. Now, if this changes, the document type changes from support request to, let's say, other, we can change that when we reply here. So I'll send that one. That'll come back, and it'll have the new metadata on it. It's automatically captured for me. So that's a customer service example. Most of us have customers, regardless of what industry we're in, and being able to capture customer communication, archive that for historical search and retrieval is pretty critical from a knowledge management standpoint and from a customer satisfaction standpoint, to know that across departments people can go in and see what people are communicating about and what the history of a conversation has been, and also see that tied to a document. So again, here it's come back to me, and I'll just open it up. It's got the same information on it, so it's tracked, and it's got the green category, so we know it's in Laserfish. So the next example would be that I've been sent a new email, and here this is from the owner, and I've got a Gmail address that's ronaldtrump99@gmail.com. Just use that for demo purposes. And he sent in a lease amendment document here. And so we're going to put this into the contracts repository. We're going to say it's related to Trump National. It's going to pre-fill the property because we have those tied together. And it's a contract. Proposal is still in the status of pending. All these are default fields set up in Laserfish, so they're automatically going to be assigned inside of Outlook for us. And then we could, of course, change it here if we wanted to. And again, this was sent in to me. I don't need to reply to it right now, so I'm just going to hit Archive. So immediately it's going to turn it the category green here. I'm going to know that it's been uploaded. And it's in Laserfish. So now, let's say a week from now, I want to come back to this email and I reply to it. It's got this information on it. I'll just go ahead and hit the reply button. I've got it open here in the full message view so that you can see your task pane. And of course, this is going to be tracked as well. So I'm going to show you here in a little bit how we can search all this information really easily inside of Laserfish, emails plus documents. But I want to move first to the rules-based archiving. And you'll see that in Outlook we have a ribbon here. And one of our options in this ribbon is archive rules. And so just to show you, I've got 5 rules or so set up here. I've got a rule for contracts, and it's on my inbox contracts folder. So I've got this expanded over here in Outlook. You can see the contracts folder. I've got this rule set up, and I don't have any conditions set on this particular rule, which basically means anything that I drag into this folder or anything that hits this folder inside of Outlook, I'm automatically going to pick it up and apply the contract template, the Laserfish repository, the company name Acme, proposal pending, controller approval, pending, etc. And it's going to be put into Laserfish automatically. Now I could go deeper and say if it's from contains Acme, then I want to handle it this way. Or if it's from OSDSinc.com, then I want the company name to be OneSource. So we can apply these keyword conditions, contains and equals, to the to from subject field. You might think of an example where it contains contract in the subject or in the body. And then again, once we build these rules, we can tie the metadata to the rules. The metadata is automatically applied when the rule hits. So I'm going to go ahead and just give you an example here where I take this email item. You see it doesn't have the green category. It's a new lease contract from Acme. And I'm just going to go ahead and drag it over into the contracts folder. And you can see now in the contracts folder, it has the green category. And if I open it up here, it's got the metadata that we assigned based on that rule. So it's a real easy way if your employees are already organizing email in subfolders inside of Outlook to go ahead and allow them to set up rules where things can be automatically classified and uploaded to Laserfish for them. They don't really have to do a whole lot different than what they're doing today. I've got another example here for a rule, and this is an invoice rule. And I've made this one very specific, and I've set it on the inbox. And it's from acmeinvoice@gmail.com, so it's very specific. And I want to put it into the accounting template. It's going to be a type invoice, a document type invoice, vendor name, company name filled out, and then I want to upload it as invoice receipts because it's coming from this particular AP invoice account that's automating invoices to us. And so, again, this is on the inbox. So you're going to have to watch closely. I've got a Gmail account here that I will pull up just to show you. That's my Ronald account. Let me pull the invoices one over here. So here's an email I've already started. It's from the Acme invoice. This is this Gmail account, a Gmail account that I've got set up. But I'll go ahead and send this. And what you've got to do is watch closely inside of Outlook, because it's immediately going to pick it up, turn it green, and apply that metadata to it. So I've hit the send button here, close these windows, and I'm on the inbox, and you're going to see that when this email comes in here from Acme Invoice, it's picked it up, it's turned it green. So I can open that and just confirm the metadata is there. I don't really have to, but to show you that it is there, then you see how the rules are working. So you can really start to think of a lot of different use cases and applications, right? You could apply rules inside of Outlook that would help you autofill or index email messages and attachments. So now that we've got all of these email items stored in Laserfish, we also want to be able to search them. So here we have, in our Email Manager ribbon, we have a related records search feature that allows me to select a template and then search for documents, emails, attachments. Anything that's in Laserfish will be returned in the result set here. So an example might be that I'm looking in accounting, I'm looking for an invoice, and I know it's a PO number 1004. So I want to see everything that has this information. I click the search button. What that does is it launches Laserfish for me. And here are all the email messages and the one document that's stored in Laserfish. This document happened to be captured via Email Manager. And so it's a good opportunity to show you an example here for how we also link attachments and email messages to each other as part of the integration with Laserfish. We talked about earlier the conversation tracking. That's part of the metadata. So we can take the conversation tracking and the conversation IDs and link email messages and documents and all that good stuff when it's stored in Laserfish, so that if you, for whatever reason, came into Laserfish and you just searched out this document, you could also see the email messages that were related to it. We can also add versioning here. It's an admin configuration. But for this particular environment, I've got it set up to handle links this way. So just another example here for search, and then I'm going to jump into the Exchange integration. If you see here, I was actually on this piece here in Outlook, which is just a date week. If I were on an actual email message and I hit this related record search, it's going to pre-fill the search to say, well, you're on this email, so you're probably looking for something related to it. So it'll go ahead and pre-fill the search for me. And so I could eliminate any field here that I wanted to, or I could just go ahead and clear it out and start a new search and select another template. You know, maybe it's not accounting. But if I did want to confirm real quickly, just as an example, this particular email is stored in Laserfish, I'll go ahead and hit the search button without doing anything, and you can see here again, there's the email message, and here is the attachment. So all this is seamlessly linked in Laserfish and simple to capture. The other quick thing that we do here to make it real easy to get email in is allow your users, let's say if I'm in accounting, I can go ahead and select that as my default template, and I want to automatically select archive on send, then I can go ahead and set that up as a configuration. And now when I hit new email, what you'll see here is that it's already starting in the accounting template for me. So pretty simple. The other feature that we have if you're using the Laserfish web client is you can select to open the web client for search or the desktop. It's a user preference. And the Laserfish URL gets put in by the administrator during the configuration so that users don't have to remember exactly what that URL is. So the next piece of this, this is the admin console. I won't get too deep into the admin console. It's not terribly difficult, but it's best to have follow-up discussions with IT and systems admin on the use cases and functionality of the admin console. But just briefly here, here's an example I'm going to use for the archive service, which is the Exchange integration. Here are all of my fields for my email template, and I can go ahead and map from to subject, send date, and CC automatically from the email message itself. And I did the same thing over here in contracts. We didn't see that in the search per se, but in the contract we have to from subject and date set up in Laserfish. And so we allow you to go ahead and just map to from date, subject, send date. Those types of things to make the indexing even more automated and less manual. So again, just to show you some functionality here, we are running Office 365, Exchange Online, but this works with Exchange Online, Exchange if it's hosted, or Exchange if it's on-premise in your corporate data center. And so what you can do here is very similar to the Outlook rules, where you can create a new rule. And what this is going to do is it's going to monitor this mailbox, but it can monitor a folder in the mailbox. It can monitor multiple mailboxes, again, with rules, however you want to set them up. And this is the email account that I'm using here. And once we configure it against the mailbox, we select the date that we want the rule to run on. So this can go all the way back to the mailbox creation date. We can set it up to use today's date forward or a specific date. And I'm going to use a specific date just so we can see this quickly happening. I'm also not going to create any conditions, but again, here you've got that same option to create some very specific conditions that allow you to add some very specific metadata. And I'm going to dump this into the email repository here. Again, you saw that we had those map fields, so I don't really have to add anything here. I just want to capture everything from 7.1 forward for the LFT3 account into Laserfish automatically. So once I hit create rule, this is going to ping the Exchange server, set up a condition, set up a listener, and it was telling me there I needed to finish that condition if I wanted to include it. But go ahead and create the rule here. And this sets up a listener on the Laserfish, or on the Exchange server. And then what we'll see here pretty quickly are emails will start just populating inside of Laserfish, and over here on the left-hand side, you'll see the template will be email, because that's the template we were directing the emails to go into. And I'm going to log out of Laserfish here real quick just to make sure that it's refreshing for me. Log back in. I'll go ahead and make sure the service is running here. Okay, yeah, so I just needed to hit start there when I created the role. And again, you can have multiple roles. So ultimately what you'll see here is the emails will start filtering in. Here they come. On the left-hand side, you'll see the template name, email. I'll open the metadata for one of these here in just a second. But to kind of bring the conversation full circle here, you've got the ability for employees to manually classify email like they do in the mailroom, like the mail gets distributed. It's a human-driven approach to classifying email. That's your Outlook integration. Then you can automate a lot of that with the tracking and the rules inside of Outlook. And on the Exchange side, you have this ability to monitor email accounts, whether they're a person's email account, and we need to pull that in because it's the legal department, or let's say it's the mayor's email account, and it's a compliance issue where we need to capture all the information from that email account, or apply the Exchange integration where you're looking specifically for an email that has some subject matter. It's from, to, the subject line, or even the body of the email. And again, all this is synchronized across Outlook users, and even if the Exchange integration is capturing the email, that's also synchronized with the Outlook users. And so what this becomes is a very intelligent capture tool to allow you to leverage your existing investment in Laserfish, whereas Laserfish has the document management, the search capability, versioning, records management, and of course the workflow capability I talked about with the business process, being able to capture email into Laserfish and initiate a workflow for adding data or routing it for approval. So with that, I want to go ahead and prompt the audience to enter in any questions that you may have. As you see here on the screen, the Exchange integration is still running there in the back end, and it's populating Laserfish with email items. And the first question that we have is, our use case for this would be to reduce Exchange inbox sizes by archiving to Laserfish only. Can you talk about that a little bit? So yeah, it's a great question. The approach that Email Manager brings to the topic is to leverage Laserfish as your content management system. So what this ultimately allows you to do, again, back to the mailroom concept, is some mail is junk. Some mail is personal. Some mail is information only. And then other documents that come to the mail are records. And so we choose which ones go into Laserfish and which ones do not, because we don't scan in junk mail, right? So we have the option with the Outlook integration to allow end users to treat email the way they would paper. Do we keep this or do we not? And or set it up on the Exchange environment and archive it to Laserfish. What this does is it creates a copy in Laserfish, and now that's your one permanent record. So this creates a separation between what IT needs to do to manage the Exchange server, to manage Outlook and local cache and PST and OST files. It allows IT to really look at email as a system that is administered by IT rather than a records management system. Laserfish is the one source records management system. Email is just a software application that IT is responsible for making sure that it's up, it's running, it's performing, and people are getting productivity out of it, right? So the premise that we've taken is take things out of the email environment and put it in Laserfish. Now you can set up, online cache, offline cache, Exchange deletion, retention, and archiving policy, Outlook mailbox limits, and those types of things, because the users can easily get back to any email or attachment in Laserfish right from Outlook. And so it makes it very simple to have a solution that is really driven around content management and document management that's going to work for productivity purposes for the end users, and it allows us to separate Outlook and Exchange out as a records management repository and not have to treat it that way from a legal discovery, e-discovery standpoint anymore, because our policy is we're treating email like paper. Email is going into Laserfish. Laserfish is our records management system. So it's a little bit of a long-winded answer, but it's a pretty interesting question, and one that we get quite often. So any other questions? I think there's one on here about converting documents. We do not convert documents. In line with the records management strategy here, the native file format is always going to be held intact. Can we do things after we capture it, copy it, separate the attachment out, convert attachments? Absolutely. All that can be done inside of Laserfish. So, or with other add-ons that do document conversion and those types of things. But from a records management standpoint, we always want to ensure that we're capturing and holding in place the integrity of the original file type. Okay, I'm not seeing any new questions coming in, so Kevin, I want to thank you and give you the opportunity to say some closing remarks, but of course the audience and the OneSource customer base, we certainly appreciate your time today, and we look forward to hearing from you.
Yep, excellent job. And if you do have any questions, feel free to reach out to your account manager here at OneSource, and we will be more than happy to address the costs and implementation strategy and any of that. So thanks very much today.